It's October 12th, 2014, and we want to know, in a Justice League throwdown, are Bubblicious and Banana Peels the ultimate weapon?
Is Equinox's main superpower the ability to hand out Werther's originals?
All this and more is coming up next. It's episode 2 of season 2 of DCR.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the DCR, the podcast that tries to keep you up to date on everything going on in DC Comics on a weekly, up to date, real time. That's what we do. That's all we do, actually. We just kind of fill you in on what's going on in all the books. I, of course, remain your host, Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire, and I am joined, as always, this week by the eminence of comics, the Punmeister General, Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir.
Hey, Sean, how's it going?
And also his sunshine, rainbows, lollipops, the effervescent but not evanescent, lovely Miss Kelly. Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
Isn't that what we decided the one day? I walked in halfway through that
Yes.
You guys were evanescent not.
But
Yes.
that happened in the future.
Oh, God. Now I've messed myself up now.
Comics, everybody.
So you guys ready for some more comic bookery this week?
Sure.
Sure.
Excellent. Kelly.
I thought we were talking about exotic spices this week, Sean. I'm very unprepared.
That's next week's show.
Things that look like fine, intricate threads, I want to shave them onto my food.
Okay, well, this is going to be a very awkward episode then. Kelly, why don't you
Tarragon,
fill the people
human.
in on exactly what we're going to do and what they should be careful of?
We are going to spoil everything.
We are.
We're going to go over the plot beats and all sorts of other stuff that Sean says. And we're going to ruin everything. So, yeah.
Fair warning.
Fair warning.
Read your books first.
Read your books, because we're going to spoil everything. And
Spoilers are ahead.
Yes.
Yay, we made it through. Woo. Way to go, Kel.
Oh, don't listen to this until you've read your books if you don't want to be spoiled.
See, that was a lot simpler way of saying it.
Whatever. It's late.
I'm just saying. But before we do so, before we jump into all those awesome books that we have to cover this week, just FYI, forewarning, this is a very Earth 2 heavy week. Earth 2 heavy. So strap in your Earth 2 belt or put on your Earth 2 helmet. Your multiversal
call up Earth 2 Will Smith. Welcome to Earth 2.
Earth 2. But before we do that, question time. So let's lead off here. Peter Malthew wrote in, or Malthew, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, and says, what the heck are these seasons things that you guys are doing?
Well, winter becomes spring, and spring becomes summer, and summer becomes fall.
No, I don't think those are the seasons he's talking about. Yeah, I think he's talking about because we're in season 2 right now, just arbitrarily, it would seem.
Yeah, almost.
Basically, it's a matter of, just like the comic books, there need to be jump-on points, and I kind of tried to do it where we're splitting off into subsections of the storyline. I think everything in season 1 was kind of the build-up of the lattice work and the interactions of the characters to get through that. In theory, I wanted to end it right at the end of Forever Evil, but then things happened and we couldn't do it, so then I just let all of the stories that were interrupted by Forever Evil finish their runs, and now we're doing it here. I figure the September month is a good time to kind of transition over since we have those odd event months going on.
The blatant relaunch at number 1 to bring in new readers.
Yes, pretty much. That's why we had the Scratch and Sniff cover.
Just like comics.
Yeah, that you made the new logo that's Scratch and Sniff.
Yeah.
It smells like stars and capes and
Yep.
Exactly like them. Exactly like them, but
not unlike how my Gatorade tastes exactly like an Arctic Rush.
Oh yes, yes.
It tastes exactly like an Arctic Rush.
I cannot tell you how much I go up to the Arctic and I just drink the Rush. But yeah, that's basically just the game plan. It's a matter of splitting things up to make it easier for folks to jump on and or find stuff that they're looking for, i.e. an era of the DC New 52. Next question comes to us from Erica Lennox, and she writes in and says, how important is adhering to the overarching timeline across all titles a character appears in to each one of you. Basically, how important is matching up these storylines in all the books that these characters are showing up in?
It depends. It really depends. Like in Marvel, they play it a lot more loosey-goosey than DC. Loosey-goosey, noodle arms. So I can, jump in on the characters I like over there and just sort of like get a vague idea of what they're doing, and I don't really care if it's matching up with everything else. Whereas DC seems to be very continuity heavy. So when things start to not match up, it becomes a little troublesome, at least since we're at least combined reading everything.
Yes.
So
yeah.
We're the worst examples of this, really.
Yes, exactly.
We can make snarky remarks about Lex Luthor showing up way too early as a Justice Leaguer when it doesn't really matter to the vast majority of people. There's a lot of that stuff where it doesn't quite match up, but I almost feel like it's a freedom for the writers as well needs to be there, i.e. all the stuff in Wonder Woman just does not really connect, but it's still one of our favorites. Mm-hmm. So the freedom needs to be there. Charles Soule tries his darndest, though.
He really does. I mean, he's doing a good job of trying to line everything up and just really reaching for those story beats so that he can make it match up with the storyline he's telling. But that has to be exhausting. Mm-hmm. That has to be exhausting.
Good thing he's not running a law firm or anything.
Yeah, no kidding. Or in a jazz band or anything like that. Jeez, lazy schlub. But it almost feels like all of the books have this not a larger picture storyline that's being handled. It's not really from book to book, title to title. It's just if you take a step back and you follow the Justice League book and the storyline that's going on there as it reaches out into things, everyone just kind of loosely touches off of what's going on there, but not really. The puzzle pieces don't quite fit, and it's fine with me. I can fill in the blanks and go, okay, this is Tuesday, or this is next week, or it's the same reason why I always complain when there's actual dates as far as 5 years ago or anything like that, because it just messes with you.
Or the sliding timeline when they say specifically, it's like Bruce Wayne's dad was in 1976. It's like, well, that kind of screws things up, doesn't it?
And it was a Tuesday in October. It was the 13th, 11:42 a.m. And then the next book, it's like, at 11:40 a.m., he was getting coffee.
He's 24, come on.
So I kind of prefer the looser method myself, but they try. They try. Some people do, at least, and some of them just kind of, as I said, not to criticize or anything, but some of them just go, okay, I'll get close to the mark, but that's going to mess up my story, so I'm just going to quasi-acknowledge what's going on over there.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me, too, on occasion. Last question, though, and it really comes in from pretty much everyone. We've gotten so many questions over the last 3 weeks about this. It's basically an amalgamation of, have you seen, what do you think, and or which is your favorite of the new DC shows, being Flash, Arrow, and Gotham. Of course, Constantine has not started yet. Nor iZombie. I don't believe it's started yet either.
Oh yeah, I forgot about iZombie.
Everyone forgot about iZombie. Poor iZombie.
That's a Vertigo thing, though.
Yes.
It doesn't really fall into our purview.
No, but I mean, it's still there.
That's the Veronica Mars guy, so I'm going to check it out anyway. But.
Fair enough.
Oh, and I would like to blanket statement for, the people who asked, if it was Kelly approved on the Flash stuff. I hate you all.
Man.
Jeez,
haymakers right out of the gate.
Sunshine and lollipops.
And haymakers.
Especially Sean.
Especially me.
I hate you, Sean.
I didn't write anything on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook in like a week. I've been busy. Super busy, so don't blame me. But Kelly, we'll start with you. Have you watched any of these shows? I'm just asking curiously if you've perchance caught one or two on your television.
Yes.
Oh, really? Which ones have you seen, Kelly?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
I'm just asking. There's 3 of them there. I'm sure you've caught at least one of them, right?
Yes, Arrow.
Really? You watched Arrow?
Oh, yes.
Did Flash guest in Arrow this week?
I don't watch things current when they actually come out.
She has seen the first 2 seasons of Arrow. She enjoyed them. We did watch Flash.
Did you enjoy it?
I hate you.
Okay, I think
I liked Flash. It was all nice and upbeat, even with all the, parent murdering and whatnot.
I was actually sitting here.
No, I did like it, but I hate you, Sean.
I'm sorry. I was actually sitting here watching my television and slack-jawed going, I cannot believe I'm just sitting here at home and Vibe is on my television screen right now.
Yes.
It was just like, this is just weird. It is weird. And I'm not even a long-time fan. I've only had those, 8 to 12 issues of Vibe to really kind of latch onto the character. But he's still such a deep dive of a character to just be right there on the screen like, hey, what's up? I'm Vibe. Well, I guess.
Cisco, check out my hair drapes.
Yes, exactly. It was just very odd to me.
So I am very confused about Killer Frost and Vibe hanging out together.
Why not? They're scientists.
They're just scientists
Well, I know,
right
I'm
now.
just very confused.
They're science people.
They're certainly not going to be superheroes later on.
No.
Mm-mm.
What are you insinuating? Killer Frost, who is this character? I've never heard of such a thing. It's not that snow lady, is it?
Gotta get to Captain Cold first.
You know what? I'm almost kind of ticked off that there was a Grodd reference before there was a Captain Cold appearance or reference.
There was a Grodd?
Yeah.
What'd I miss?
Well, when they were panning back from when he just came back from consciousness and they were going through the hallways, one of the cages that they walk past is like the bars are spread apart and there's a Grodd sign hanging there.
I missed that.
There has been
a
Grodd reference before Captain Cold even got to show up.
Jeez, man.
With his Inuit sunglasses, or I'm not entirely sure whose they are, but whatever. I know it's someone way up north. They use those types of glasses. That's
oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh, I thought they were just dumb-looking glasses.
Same. And then
50 years ago.
It was pointed out to me. I want to say like a week or two ago on Reddit, and I was like, "Huh, I'll be damned."
I know they suddenly showed back up in Justice League after he'd had cool modern ones for the longest time.
Yeah, his future's so bright, man.
Gotta wear shades.
Gotta wear those shades. But out of the three, let's just go down the line. Flash good. We all agree.
Arrow consistent,
always.
Mm-hmm.
The twist at the end of this first episode, I'm not going to spoil anything because I know Kelly actually hasn't seen this one yet.
No, because I was too busy watching Project Runway. Sorry, that is the show that I actually keep up with.
The twist at the end is a very big wee moment where it's kind of I wonder where they're going to go from here. And it almost makes me sad because if it goes the direction I'm thinking it's going to go, it's not my favorite actor on the show. So we'll just go from there.
All right.
Lastly, Gotham. The most divisive, I think, of the three shows out right now. It seems people either love it or they hate it.
It's certainly got the most money behind it.
Yes, by far. And they're definitely showing it, at least in their establishing shots in the
fancy police department.
Yes.
That's a gorgeous looking police department.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Find
it
me
is.
a police department that actually looks like that anywhere in the world.
It's in Gotham.
Oh, yes, I forgot.
Just FYI.
Yes.
Kelly,
see Gotham?
You did not see Gotham.
Okay.
You were in bed when I put
I'm
Gotham
sorry.
on.
We'll leave you out of this part then.
Yes.
I just couldn't remember.
Are you pro or anti?
I am pro. I am willing to go, because number one, Benjamin McKenzie and Donal Logue are awesome.
Yes.
They are awesome in their role, and I will give it the pilot, the pilot license of, okay, I see you're trying to get everyone in there, so I'll let you get away with your, Nigma, cut it out with the riddles. Selena, you get off that hot tin roof.
Hey, call me Cat.
This baby was born on a Monday. What do you think we should name it? I'll put up with that malarkey for a little bit. If it continues, I'll just continue rolling my eyes at it.
They'll tone down.
Yeah.
You remember the first couple episodes of Arrow? How eye-rolling it was for a lot of scenes where you're just like, oh my god.
I just remember continuously rewinding over all of his parkour frog jumps just over and over again.
Go back to that.
Love that parkour frog jump. That's what I came for, and that's what I stuck around for.
I mean, those first 4 episodes or so really turned a lot of people off to that show at the beginning, and then it was around episode 5 where the overarching storyline really started to pick up, where it was like, hey, we're not just going to rely on that, and here we go. And it seems kind of like at the end of episode 3 of Gotham, they're kind of starting to take that step back and go, okay, I think we've referenced everything we need to for at least the first couple seasons. Let's do it. And now they're kind of moving forward with their own story. I can understand why people are a little gun shy about it, though.
Yeah. Because there's certain aspects where I'm like, am I actually enjoying this, or am I just enjoying the fact that it's familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Penguin's really cool.
Great actor for
I
that.
really like he actually, plus, even though they keep, what are you, a penguin?
You walk like a penguin.
But he actually does look, unlike the actual penguin, he does look like a penguin, which is a nice change of pace.
I'm hoping his nose gets caught in a door and he backs up and it stretches out like the mask. And then they're like, oh, penguin, what happened? Just personal preference
yes,
and all.
I'm sure.
Or Danny DeVito's just standing behind him, shaking his head all the time. But yeah, I am also in the pro camp, but tentative, just like you. I still haven't figured out if it's the show itself that's kept me around, or if it's the familiarity as well that I'm just like, oh, look, they're referencing this now. Oh, they're looking at this. I have not read Gotham Central yet, which I guess is kind of a big source
I don't think it's
inspiration.
I guess we're a couple episodes in, so it's not really a spoiler anymore. I was so happy when I saw Montoya and Alan show up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I've actually been reading them in 52. Well, one of the two.
Yeah.
Now that I'm halfway through that, so I know what happens to one of them, and I know what happens to the other. I'm just kind of piecing all together how those things get to their respective squares.
Yes.
But, Donald Logue as,
Bullock. Yeah.
Great casting.
Donald Logue just period is pretty great.
Not quite how I saw Bullock though. I guess it would make sense if he was trying to fit in at that time while it was all corrupt, because he is kind of a not go against the flow guy. But then again, at the same time, he always seemed like he was the anti-establishment cop that was just doing whatever he needed to do all the time. I don't know. There's been like multiple depictions of him, I guess, now that I think about it. Mm-hmm. Maybe there was
he was supposed to be like a villain in the animated series, and they just sort of grew to like him so much they made him more and more
and then by the like second, third season, he was almost an ally even.
Yeah.
It was very weird. Maybe that's where I'm getting like the mixed vibes from it.
Mayhaps.
Possibly. But that's it. That's all of our questions for this week. So what do you say we stop with the dilly-dallying and strap on, get ready to jump through that portal as we go into Earth 2 version of this week's books. All right, here we go. We are talking about Earth 2. Kind of. Because we're going to start off with something a little, you would not think Earth 2 when I say this name. Constantine, the gutter mage, the con man, the Sheisty Wizzard. That's what I'm going to call him.
I don't know if I would say that.
The Sheisty Wizzard. He got himself into a little bit of trouble. He's been trying to get away from this cult of the cold flame that he kind of sold his soul to. And in his games of trying to escape, he ended up going back in time and then kind of unraveled the very thing that holds the universe together to get away from there. And now he has found himself in the fiery remains of a city surrounded by parademons. And that was where we had left him off in issue 17, as of course we're doing 18 this week. Here's the thing. He's looking around going, parademons, I remember you guys from a while back when Darkseid attacked, because Earth 2 is being trashed by Darkseid and his minions, and we will talk all about that here in a little bit. Trust me, you'll be so sick of me hearing me talk about Earth 2 stuff in probably like 15 minutes that you don't need to know right this second. He's found himself there, and he's being attacked by these parademons, but he is saved by an unlikely ally. When Wotan, the wizard that we've seen in the Earth 2 book before, I guess he's kind of like a ancient Chinese wizard, ancient Chinese Wizzard. No, wasn't he like the counter to Naboo?
Yeah, like a Dr. Fate enemy.
Yeah, he's like the opposite. He's the chaos mage, whereas the Dr. Fate was the order mage.
I guess. I haven't been reading Earth 2.
Okay, well that was kind of how they set it up. Well, he shows up, kills all the parademons, goes, you! World Walker guy, and this is kind of where Constantine puts it one and one together, that he's not on Earth 0. And he goes, this place is about to get trashed. I mean, look at it. There's holes all over the planet. There's a big old crack in the side. Apocalypse is running all over the place. I'm going to use you to get off of this plane of existence ASAP. So you just stand right there, and they have a little mage fight, but his magic isn't working right because he's on Earth 2 now, not Earth 0, and I guess things are a little bit different as far as the magic stuff. And he ends up getting captured, and then Wotan goes, see, look at this. I'm going to make a portal back to Earth 0 using your body. You're going to be like the antenna so that I can get over there. And Constantine kind of figures out what's going on here and tells him, you know what? you're a really awesome mage. You're like the best mage I've ever seen. I am trembling at your very presence here.
You're magnificent.
You're magnificent. So, if you could, I mean, if it's too much trouble, don't worry about it, but if you could, I know this other spell that'll make it so you can use me as a portal, but I'll actually survive the process. Can I cast that one first, and then you can do your thing? I mean, it's not like I'm a threat to you. You saw that. He goes, okay, I guess if that's what you want to do, give it a shot. And he goes, woojity woo, to protect himself from being turned into a portal. And Wotan does his magic, opens up the portal, steps through, and as Constantine had figured out, it wasn't going to work quite right because there are two Constantines on Earth 2. There's the Earth 2 Constantine, who we get little flashes of that's hanging out in a bar as the world ends with all of his friends, including, it's like all the old Vertigo characters. It's Chaz and, what are the characters from
Don't look at me, man.
No, his buddies from Future's End.
Oh, okay, those characters.
Yeah, Midge or whatever.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, it's like all the characters that we've seen for him kind of hang out with, and or Chaz that I only know from the movie, but I know that was a character that he hung out with all the time. No.
Yeah.
But when Wotan steps in, the portal is basically in both places. It's in Earth 2 Constantine and in Earth 0 Constantine, and he's immediately sheared in half as half of him steps out from Earth 2 Constantine, and the other half gets stuck back at Earth 0 Constantine, and he kind of falls to the ground. Innards all over the place, and Constantine's like, wow, that worked out better than I thought it could. But for me to get back, I have the exact same problem, so rule number 1 for my time here on Earth 2, let's find Earth 2 John Constantine, and he starts doing his woodgy magic, and that's where we leave him off. Again, remember what I said last week when we were talking about the Future's End books? And I actually said that Constantine was one of my favorites out of the Future's End ones because it was just almost a one-shot con job.
Yeah.
That's what this was as well, while still interfacing with the DC proper.
Yeah.
I mean, if he keeps up at this rate, we're going to run out of magic characters, but
Yes.
It's still nice to see him doing that.
It's not like we're going to be using Earth 2 much longer anyway.
That is true. That is true. We might have a replacement planet here coming soon. It's almost like that world's about to end or something.
I don't know.
But luckily that book's not next, or else that would be a good segue. But this particular issue, Constantine number 18, it's nice to see it. It's exactly what I want from this book, and it's an interesting premise, and if he runs across the Earth 2 stuff going on, I kind of almost feel bad for him that he's going to get pulled into the World's End stuff as well as the Future's End stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Not
all these ends.
Yeah, I mean, Constantine, you got to go to the beginning, man. Go to the beginning. But you have one as well.
I've got kind of a beginning myself. It's World's Finest number 27, Superman, Batman, World's Finest.
You know what?
Power
that wasn't
Girl
even planned, and that was a good segue.
Power Girl and Huntress, you've been punted off to the weekly.
Actually, yeah, they have. They're in Earth 2 and World's End.
Okay, so they are still
pretty heavily in
showing
front
up.
and center.
Okay. Probably paying off all that important stuff that's been happening in World's
Exactly.
Finest so far. So, Lois Lane, aka Red Tornado, the Earth 2 Lois Lane, is backing up the history of Earth 2 and decides to tell the stories of Superman and Batman's parents. So we've already heard, and I think the Earth 2 annual this past year, we found out that Batman's dad, who is now currently Batman, Thomas Wayne.
Correct.
He was involved in shady drug deals when he was a doctor, and he was under the thumb of the Falcone family. It's pronounced Falcone according to the TV show, Sean.
I know.
Cool it with the Falcone. I've known you've been wrong for years now, and I've let it slide. But now I've got proof.
I'm calling him Fuckity.
Meatza balls. So he was under the thumb of the Falcone family during the American Hustle era Gotham City.
Yes, I love the look of this one.
They've all got the worst glasses
I
inside.
know, that's what's great. All the clothing's period. It's so 70s.
Yeah, so he does something where he gets himself out from under the thumb, and he's got some evidence for, in case they ever come after his son, because they might be dying soon, even though he doesn't really die. It's been covered already. So you can go back and look up that Earth 2 annual stuff if you really want to know. Basically, Batman's dad's kind of a jerk, but now he's Batman. So,
and how does he keep up? Because he's old.
Oh, well, it doesn't go over that in this.
Okay, well then never mind. I'll
yeah.
cover it in mine.
Yeah, so we also find out about Earth 2 Superman's dad. He was trying to reignite Krypton's sun, and he accidentally exploded it, dooming the planet. So
And
Superman's dad destroyed Krypton.
But
in Earth 2.
not only that, we get to see where he learned half of his playbook of just tossing things into the sun all willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm,
It's genetic. His dad
is
did the
genetic,
exact same thing.
So the planet's doomed. They're like, oh crap, what are we going to do? When suddenly an apocalyptic lady named Intree shows up and offers to save the world if they give up their baby to Darkseid. Darkseid loves stealing babies.
He does. He's running a nursery.
Mm-hmm.
It's Darkseid's daycare.
Well, yeah, that was Granny Goodness' daycare is what it really.
Sorry, my apologies for trying to make a joke instead of actually following canon.
I know, right? So Jor-El, he refuses to do this. And so she goes, okay, we'll find him eventually. Smell you later. And goes and boom tubes off. So Jor-El and Lara rounded up the L kids. Kara will be Power Girl. Val, who will be the current Earth 2 Superman.
Correct.
And
don't worry, I got all that stuff coming up.
And question mark to shoot them off into space. I'm sure you. I think
literally question L.
I guess so. You've mentioned before that there was a fourth ship that goes off, and we don't know who's in that fourth ship. But
nope. That's gonna be. I'm sure that's gonna have to pay off here soon.
Yep. So that is our story. Superman and Batman on Earth 2, their dads were kind of jerks.
Yeah, not the best.
No.
Did you like the narrative done by Red Tornado / Lois Lane?
Didn't really affect much of the story at all.
Okay.
I mean, you got the peril of the fact that, things are really bad in Earth 2 and she's trying to back up her world's history.
Yeah.
And, kind of.
It's a good framing device, I thought. But it's
some ridiculous pot shots at digital media in there.
A little bit.
Oh, if only people would have real books that can survive no matter what.
As fire is raging all around.
Yes.
Just FYI, that might be a detriment to books.
Yes.
So let's really dive in then. Because I'm going to go into Earth 2, World's End, #1. Our third weekly from DC Comics.
Have fun with that, Sean.
You have to admit, this is pretty brazen on DC's part.
Just a smidge.
I mean, this is amazingly brazen for when 52 came out. Everything I read is like, holy crap, they're really going to try to do this? Like, a weekly book? Every week, a book in this story's coming out? And then they go, okay, we're going to do it again with Batman Eternal. And we're going to do it again with Future's End. And we're going to do it again with World's End.
And World's End and Future End seem to be like partner books where they will eventually be coming together.
With Batman, actually.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what I was getting into when we were talking about the interlinking nature of all the books. There is a storyline there. It just seems to be we're getting the middle, beginning, end, the segue, and everything at the same time out of order. But we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. So let's talk about Earth 2. It's idyllic. It's happy. It's very vibrant and bright, and everything's awesome. And they have the Wonders there to protect them. That's what they call their superheroes of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Pronounced Oneaters.
You would think after 2 years you'd be done with that.
Nope.
We meet Alan Scott, who, as we find out later, becomes Green Lantern. He is actually arguing with his boyfriend, Sam, because he has hired Terry Sloan to set up a gate / portal / communication device for his television station, I'm assuming so he can broadcast to the entire multiverse. Get some huge advertising dollars then if he's starting to cross the interdimensional barrier. Sam, of course, thinks this is a horrible, horrible idea. Alan is just going, well, I'm going to do it. I'm the boss here. I'm in charge. And Sam ends up leaking the information out. He sends it off to a contact that he has, and the contact, we find out, is Accountable. And Brian or Kelly, do you guys remember who Accountable was? The hacker group Accountable on Earth 2.
That's Jimmy Olsen.
That's correct.
All right.
The super memory never forgets anything ultra hacker Jimmy Olsen, who is a one-man hacking group. He gets that information, leaks it to Lois so that she can make a story about it. And unfortunately, as he does that, Batman and Robin, in this case, the Huntress now, it's his actual biological daughter with Catwoman, they bust in, and Jimmy Olsen's like, hey, Bruce, calm down, man. We're going to do this. And Bruce freaks out because he knows who he is. Pepper sprays him and locks him down in the basement with all the other villains. He's like, oh, no one can know that stuff. Get down here in a tube. This is when all hell breaks loose, though. The boom tubes open. Terry Sloan was successful in opening up the boom tubes, allowing Darkseid and all of his parademons and his who are the people that he has underneath him?
The Furies?
No, we get to them
the
later.
Hunger Dogs?
Man-bats?
Yeah, the Hunger Dogs, I guess is what he called them. But it's Steppenwolf and Desaad and
various apocalyptic
people underneath. They all come through. And this is where we basically picked up in Earth 2 when it started. This is issue 1 of Earth 2. All these guys come through. They trash the planet. Terry Sloan, in his genius, awesome, I'm gonna help Earth 2, says, well, I'll take care of all of them, and detonates fire pits into the planet to try to destroy the armies of Apocalypse. So now Earth 2 has kind of the giant holes shooting fire off into space, just like Apocalypse has, as we have seen in previous comics. Whoops, guess that didn't work. Weep wah, that's Sloan. Also, so to fix this whole problem, they're still coming through, they're still all over the place. Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman end up sacrificing themselves to close down the portals, trapping Steppenwolf and a small army of parademons on Earth 2, but stopping Darkseid and the rest from coming through. Unfortunately, that's the death of Superman, death of Batman, death of Wonder Woman, and then the Supergirl and Robin, aka Power Girl and Huntress, as we know them, got shunted off to Earth Zero, which is the start of World's Finest.
They did a lot of very important things.
Very important things. Mm-hmm. They protected Earth Zero from poison gelato. Yes. They made sure all of it was safe across the United States, the world even. They were everywhere.
Cupcake frosting, Italian ice. They were making sure. Only they were in Gotham City that one time.
So it turns out Terry Sloan not really working in the best interest of Earth 2. Surprise! Yeah. And he's actually kind of ticked off that someone must have leaked all of the information about these portals and where they were being started from, because otherwise Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman would not have been able to close them. And he goes through all the information to find out who it is, finds out it is Sam, Alan Scott's boyfriend, and that is why their train was derailed and he was killed in the first issue of Earth 2. Mystery solved. Hey. Yay! We're coming full circle. See, so this is what basically this first issue of World's End is the entire history of Earth 2, filling in a lot of these little mystery holes along the way.
Why couldn't they just tell you in the original book and not have another book to explain all this?
Because it was supposed to be a mystery that kept you interested in the book, where Hawk Girl was off trying to solve that mystery, and then they kind of forgot about her for a while because other things were happening.
There's a lot of characters, almost too many to be
for one book. You can't contain it. It's basically like trying to fit all of the other books that we do into one title. Like if Justice League covered all the happenings in all the other books we do. That's what Earth 2 has been trying to do, because it was one book for an entire world. And it wasn't quite fitting into those confines very well. So Sloan is ticked off that happened. He goes, well, I'm going to have to try again, see if I can't do this. He arranges for Mr. Terrific from Earth Zero, Michael Holt, to get brought over to Earth 2. He ends up working with him, trying to figure out what they can do that was the whole part where they both ended up joining the World Army, trying to figure out how to open portals, close portals, get rid of all these apocalyptic peoples. But of course, Terry Sloan had his own agenda. New wonders begin to rise at this time frame, though. We get the new Flash. Alan Scott becomes the new Green Lantern. We get Hawk Girl, Red Tornado, of course, is Lois Lane. I know I'm rambling quite a bit. This book goes on. As I said, it's a whole history lesson. Dr. Fate, Sandman, Adam, all these characters start popping up. And one of them, when they're off doing their little battles, is Val Zod. Brian, who is Val Zod?
He is the new Superman. He's another Kryptonian.
Yeah, he was the Zod, the son of General Zod on Krypton, who was actually friends with the Elves. And then when his parents were killed by the council, the Elves ended up adopting him. So Superman's parents ended up adopting him. We actually find out in some flashbacks later on. You know what? I'll get to it in Earth 2. Never
I feel
mind.
like we need cliff notes for this.
That's kind of what he's trying to
That's
do.
what I'm doing right now.
But I feel we need cliff notes for your cliff notes.
I know. Well, I'm just basically, now we're at the point where we're going over the stuff that when you guys have been on the show was going on. Evil Superman attacks. You guys remember all this,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
The
yes.
Hunger Dogs of Earth 2. Actually, there was a Superman in disguise. He's evil. He's the Herald of Darkseid, and he is ripping crap up. He's killed the World Council. The World Army
punches the world in half.
Yeah, the World Army is in disarray. They've retreated back to Themyscira, Wonder Woman's home place. Amazonia, I'm sorry, is what they call it on Earth 2. And eventually they end up winning the battle. Val-Zod comes in, saves the day, and we find out that this Superman was just a clone, almost a Bizarro-like character of it. And now we're moving forward. Now we're most of the way through this particular issue, but we get to move forward.
Just this issue. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, this is a really big book. It was like 37, 38 pages.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's why I said I knew
had
I was going to
no
be
reference.
rambling here. What was that?
I said I have no reference for that.
It's
Normally
most of them are
22.
22. So this is almost double sized.
Oh.
The world's in shatters. Yay, we beat evil Superman. Go team. In Chicago, there's a refugee camp. And we zoom in on this refugee camp where we see Dick Grayson of Earth 2 has married Barbara Gordon of Earth 2, and they have had a daughter, and he is doing everything he can to protect both of them as far as not sleeping so that people don't steal their provisions. Oh man, if only there was something more we could do to help. If only something more we could do. I wasn't expecting these two to show up at all, period.
Yeah.
Let alone married with a kid, so I'm a little wary about what's going to happen to that kid, honestly. I'm hoping the best, guys. I'm hoping the best. My fingers are crossed, but if you guys are both going to jump into this story, I would drop her off at the daycare first.
Yes.
Please do. Please do. Hawkgirl, meanwhile, is chasing after the crazy wonky Dr. Fate. Remember how his helmet got stomped on by Superman?
Yeah.
And he's been kind of crazy ever since. He is flying around screaming all these prophecies about doom, how the Earth 2 is doomed. Doomed. We must seek refuge on the Crimson Moon. Are you starting to see where all these things are starting to come together here? But after he rambles off all this crazy talk, there's a whole bunch more to it, but I figured the Crimson Moon part would be the most interesting. He senses a visitor and goes flying off, and Hawkgirl goes chasing after him. Meanwhile, in Geneva, the team of Val-Zod, Batman, old cranky Batman, Batman's dad, technically, Red Tornado, aka Lois Lane, they have reached the fireworks factory. Both Power Girl and Huntress show up, and the showdown happens between all of these characters. Huntress is going, "You're not my dad. Who are you? Why are you wearing the Batman suit?" Power Girl's going, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And Lois Lane, when she was still just a kid, Power Girl was still just a kid, is practically a mother to Karen. Because, of course, she ended up showing up there, and they were like, "Oh, hey, you're younger than us. We'll take you in." And she practically raised Power Girl as her own daughter. Of course, now she's a red robot, and she has to kind of go through and explain all that and be like, "No, it actually is me." And there is actually this heartwarming scene where she's like, "My mom's alive. Yay." It was like, oh, 20 odd issues to get here, but we got here. This is where we have a little side adventure that happens in the Earth 2 book. I'm going to cover it next, like immediately next. Sorry for droning on so long. But after that little mini adventure, there is a bunch of hoopla going on around the fire pits on Earth 2, and they show up as the Earth is quaking and fire is shooting out, extra fiery even, extra fiery! And then, boom! 4 different fire pits, 4 different places around the world, 4 different individuals step out of the fire pits, planning to take over this world for apocalypse. Anyone want to take a stab? 4 ladies come stepping on out of the portal.
Either the Furies or possibly the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
It is the Furies, I believe.
What are those?
The 4 female bodyguard, like the Royal Guard of Darkseid, I guess.
Yeah.
Would be a good way of putting it. But all 4 of them step out, and they are just like, "Yeah, let's rock and roll. This place is barely standing together. This is gonna be easy peasy lemon squeezy." Boom! If you want to get caught up on Earth 2, this is the only issue you need.
Yeah.
It really is.
Didn't need anything else.
It really fills you in on everything that has happened up to date. And that's a good 20-odd issues, so that's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's done in a decent way. There's a lot of cutscenes all over the place as far as who these characters are to give you an establishing shot, where they are, why they're doing what they're doing, why they're hanging out with who they're hanging out with. So it's basically a one-shot catch-up for everything that happened prior. And then looks like it's just going to go full hog forward from here, because this is the shortest of the 3 weeklies. It only has to last 3-4 months.
Okay.
So
there's that.
I have a feeling the pace on this one is going to be very, very quick if it has to cover the actual end of Earth 2, their escape from Earth 2 back to Earth 0, and then allegedly, as we're seeing in Future's End, if all of those things are happening in this weekly, this is going to be a mile-a-minute book. It has to be, just to fit all that stuff in. Very decent, though. Very decent. A lot of artists. It kind of hurt it a little bit, but for that big of a book, more than understandable.
You still got one more, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
And it's almost as rambly.
Oh, God, just go for it, man.
Okay. Okay, so, as I said, there was that little stop in between. They sense all the fire pits going off as far as Batman, Val-Zod, Red Tornado, Power Girl, and Huntress, and they go, we should probably go investigate that. And on their way, they pick up a distress call coming from the CERN laboratories in Geneva. You know, the big old Hadron Collider they have there.
It's going to kill us all, yeah.
Yeah, you know, that thing, nothing big whatsoever. And they head inside to find all of these freakish zombie monsters essentially attacking everything. And as they bite other people that are down there, they turn into freakish zombie monsters, and all the scientists are being turned into freakish zombie monsters. And they end up punchy, and fight their way through. Unfortunately, they do get split up, and it is Power Girl and Val-Zod, it is Batman and Huntress, and it is Lois Lane, who ends up off in a room by herself with the head scientist of CERN. And the head scientist goes, hey, somehow this Hadron Collider opened up some sort of portal, and all of these beast monsters come through, and there seems to be some sort of virus in the actual tunnels of the Collider, the giant circular tunnels where we do our collisions, and that's what's infecting everyone. Oh gee, if only there was something we could do. Oh, I know. You guys are super powered people. Why don't you fly around there really, really fast, cause another atom-smashing collision, and that should incinerate all of the virus that's out there. So Val-Zod and Power Girl go, okay, we'll do that. While inside, Huntress and Batman are not friends, Brian, because she is ticked off. My father, the actual Batman, Bruce Wayne, sacrificed his life, gave up everything. I mean, he broke himself. He did everything to avenge your death. And you've been alive this whole time, standing in the shadows going, hee, April Fools. And this is told with backstories as well. I'll get to the backstories here in a minute. But it's kind of been shown that Thomas Wayne has been watching over her the whole time. Like, he protects her from muggers, when she's still in school. He's always like dropping off stuff, like she ends up dropping her book bag and running away from this horrible scene, and then her book bag is just hanging on her windowsill when she gets home. So he's always been there, but there's severe animosity from Helena Wayne's side in this whole dynamic. Val-Zod, Power Girl, they get into the giant tunnels. They basically start flying in opposite directions as fast as they can. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. And then they come together and clasp hands, colliding at like almost light speed speeds, and that incinerates everything in there, and they're like, yeah! But then they blush because they're holding hands, and they're like, tee hee hee, I like you. Circle yes, no if you like me. And that's because we get the flashback to before Krypton blew up, after his parents were killed. No one would hang out with Val-Zod. He was an outcast and a half, and Kara was literally his only friend. And as they got shot off, they had walkie-talkies, and they were trying to talk to each other as they were shooting off, and then they got so far apart in space that they lost. It's actually a very nice scene, the way it's done. It's just like aw. So the first question she asked when they see was, did you hear me? Did you hear me as we were flying through space? And he's like, yeah, I heard you. And it's nice. For as little page space as it gets over these two issues, it's a believable link between the two characters for them to move forward. It's literally maybe 4 panels, but it's enough to get it done and sell it for me. So they end up, oh boy, blushy, let's go fly off because we have to dump off all this radiation at the sun, and then they're hanging out at the sun like, oh, and then they come flying back holding hands, so I guess they're an item now. And they land as everyone's climbing out of the wreckage, and they go, well, guys, let us move on to that fire pit because I'm sure nothing bad's gonna happen there, which, as we saw, was where the Furies ended up coming out at the end of World's End. The end.
All right, so good Earth 2 catch up.
Yeah, a lot of Earth 2 catch up, a lot of introduction to the characters. I kind of was a little miffed if they would have just chopped off the last 2 pages of World's End. I think it would have read better as a link instead of having that Earth 2 issue stuffed in between there. It felt weird when I got to the end of it, and then when I started Earth 2, it says, these events take place after World's End. And then I start reading, and I'm like, no, they haven't. Where are the Furies? Where did they go? What's happening? And then I figured out, oh, well, it's kind of sandwiched in between those last 2 pages. And once you figure that out, it's not that bad at all.
All right.
So get away from Earth 2.
Are you ready for a palate cleanser?
I am ready.
Are you ready for a bizarre stream of conscious noir style trip through the multiverse's nether realm?
Actually, before we even start, Brian, I am shaking you like an etch-a-sketch right now.
Okay.
Clean slate.
All right.
Clean slate. I don't want any of your snark if it's not deserved. I want, if we say this all the time, that we have to give people chances. If they move to new properties or if a different writer comes onto a book, we should not make judgments immediately. So, clean slate. What are you doing?
I'm doing Klarion number 1.
Okay.
All right. So Klarion comes from a world full of wizards. So he's off to an Earth where there are very few wizards. He's literally standing at, he refers to as the crossroads of the multiverse with a big old sign with a bunch of arrows pointing off in different directions.
Yep.
So it's almost as if it doesn't have to be our Earth if later on we don't want it to be. So,
does he actually ever make it to our Earth? I didn't think he did.
I'm not sure. We will get there, kind of.
Fair enough.
So he hitchhikes in Rockabilly Barber Beelzebub's Dodge Charger as he drops him off at the Moody Museum, a kind of halfway house for magical people.
Okay.
Yeah, so Klarion disguises himself.
So can I stop you right there?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Shookashooka and all, but Beelzebub is a rockabilly guy in a what is he driving?
It looks like I'm gonna say Dodge Charger because I just assume that all cars from that era are
Fair
Dodge
enough.
Chargers.
I mean, it's very, very iconic, but at the same time, he's a barber?
I don't know. Tells him to stop by for a shave once he starts growing facial hair.
I mean, I know he's one of the devils, like one of the big devils.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming just by the name in the DCU, he's one of the big devils. But did you not get a devil vibe off of this guy?
He looked like a devil.
He looked like a devil. If he didn't talk like a devil,
no.
He didn't react to anything like a devil. Oh, you need a ride? Okay, hop in. Where are you heading to? Yeah, sure, I'll give you a ride. Let's go. Okay, yeah, you want to go there? Yeah, you want to take a left? You want to do this? Enjoy your stay. I'll see you later. Have a good time. If you need a haircut, swing on by. Okay, thanks, Demon Beelzebub.
Yep. So Klarion, he's on this maybe Earth. He disguises himself and helps save Rasp, a descendant of Rasputin, from an evil EDM band that is beating him up. So he saves Rasp, then Klarion goes to get a room at the Moody Museum by taking a job as a sous chef.
Oh, okay.
There he meets Piper, a pale Guillermo del Toro lady who's very strict, and she's sort of like the headmistress of this Moody Museum.
Of this halfway house?
Yes. And the head chef, Noah, who is cooking up a funeral soup that will make people appropriately sad for the occasion. He's going to be his sous chef.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Are you following this, Kelly?
No, not at all.
His neighbor in the tower next door, it's like there's like a tower at the Moody Museum, is Zell, a.k.a. Goth Rapunzel. She saw him save Rasp and thinks he's pretty cool. So they both go to the Necropolitan Club where the evil EDM band is playing.
I'm sorry.
Tired of getting picked on by evil EDM bands, Rasp took some evil magical tech upgrades from some sinister guy with a hood and is connected to the Shroud, which is some evil tech magic thing.
Okay. So he's harnessing technology.
Technology combined with magic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So when he goes to see...
He's a technomancer.
Mm-hmm. So when he sees Klarion...
Do the EDM people like him since he's a technomancer?
We'll get there. When he sees Klarion macking on his crush, Goth Rapunzel, Rasp freaks out, tries to join the evil EDM band, and gets in a magic fight with Klarion. Off on top of the Moody Museum, Piper and Noah, who has goat legs and won't stop talking about how he wants to build an ark, decide that they should intervene. Sean, what the hell was that?
That was Klarion.
That was Klarion number one.
Here's how I described it.
Okay. You did the review this week for that one as well?
Yeah, I haven't published it yet. Well, actually, by the time people are listening to it, it's published by now. This is almost the same thing we were getting from Catwoman, as far as the disjointed storytelling. The dialogue's really weird. The plot beats are trippy as all hell. But in Klarion,
it makes more sense.
It does. It almost feels like it's a conscious look. This is supposed to be all jacked up and weird, and
you're not supposed to have 100% idea what's going on.
Yeah, and it almost feels like that's how it's supposed to be. That you shouldn't understand what's happening straight out of the gate right now. I'm going to fill in those holes for you later, but I can't say it's good either.
There's still that.
Definitely does not grab my attention at all. I started playing on my phone about 30 seconds.
Even when Goth Rapunzel showed up?
Rapunzel should not be goth. No offense. She's my favorite princess. She's not supposed to be goth.
It's just,
I mean, it still has that weird thing where it's like, oh, here's some stuff I read about on Wikipedia today. I'm going to shove it in. I'm going to cram it in here with a plunger.
A little bit of that.
Yeah. Did you know? It's like I'm looking up information on Rapunzel. Oh, look, cats can get Rapunzel disease where they eat their hair and make hairballs. So that's what happened to Tickle.
Before you move on.
Yes.
This book sealed it for me. Someone needs to check on Innocenti. Because she has a problem. She has a problem. I want you to think back to all of the books that she has done.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them have had a cat in a bag slung over the shoulder of someone?
You're right! Ugly cat, no!
As soon as I got to that, I was like, why does she keep putting cats in bindle freaking things? Why are there all these dead cats in plastic bags and jars? Even
this is right up your wheelhouse, Sean. You should be praising her for this.
Even in Green Arrow, the first issue she did, he was attacked by a bunch of cats.
Really? He was? Man.
But, I mean, it was still a bunch of cats.
Is she like a crazy cat lady?
No, she hates cats.
Yeah, apparently. Well, she hates those cats.
Then why write about them?
Because she hates them.
But there was Catwoman. Mm-hmm. There was Joker's daughter.
Yeah, man.
If I hate something, I just ignore it and don't acknowledge it.
It was just something stupid that I noticed, and I was like, oh, why do you keep doing this?
So let's go on to Future's End.
Just to tidy it up.
Yeah.
It's better than other stuff we've seen from her.
Mm-hmm.
It could very well turn around into something good. It has the potential.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gun shy already, and this wasn't that much of an improvement for me to go, okay, now it's on. And
it's like, Clarion's super poetic about being a sous chef? Okay. Sure, that's a thing.
So I'm going to be tentative right now. We'll see where it goes. We're not going to crucify it. That's why I said Shookashooka. We'll see where it goes from here.
Yes.
Moving on. Where are we going
Future's
from here?
End number 23. 5 years in the future.
5 years in the future.
Amethyst, Hawkman, and Frankenstein are suddenly aided in their battle with a gigantic brainiac on the Blood Moon by
there was a Blood Moon a couple days ago.
Yes, there was.
Blood Moon? Like a Crimson Moon?
Oh, it's the Crimson Moon? Did I say Blood Moon? Because Kelly
did say Blood Moon.
Oh, yes. Well, that's what I've got written down, too. But that's because Kelly was talking to me about blood moons the other night.
No, I was just talking about how Dr. Fate was talking about a crimson moon.
Yeah, but is it the blood moon? The blood moon will rise, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where he's living.
Well, the blood moon rose on, like, what was it, Tuesday night? Wednesday night?
If it was Wednesday night, then
Blood
very
moon
important.
on the rise.
Yes.
Oh, it might have been Wednesday.
So whatever moon they are on, it's the place.
That's no moon.
Yeah, it's where Brainiac is living and doing his evil stuff.
No mere Brainiac, though.
Yeah, it's a gigantic,
This is like Kaiju
10-story
Brainiac.
Yes. So they are aided in battle by the Atom and Black Atom.
That's not going to be confusing.
No, I even wrote Black Atom, ATOM, on my notes. Now I'm looking at it. Therefore, creating a new Stormwatch. Black Atom distracts Brainiac with lightning, while Atom joins the rest of the people fighting the Epcot-headed Brainiac minions, and gives Hawkman crap for not having his own sword.
That was great.
It was.
Didn't you know, man? Swords are the coolest thing. We all got swords.
Mm-hmm. So Black Atom is considered super boring to Brainiac, the Collector, because, oh my gosh, there's so many Shazams. Let me have the other ones. They're unique and original.
Well, to be fair, as we're going to find out in Multiversity, there is a Shazam world. I mean,
Yeah.
probably just like, click.
Yeah. So, keeps hitting him with lightning so New Stormwatch can escape with the engineer, who they're going to try to reboot and save from Brainiac's
I'm sure
control.
that'll work out fine.
Mhm, yeah, bring Brainiac technology onto your electronic thing, and nothing bad can happen
Nope.
there. So, back on Earth, Madison Payne has a flashback to her dramatic soap opera style breakup with former Red Robin Tim Drake, who, as we all know, is living under the name Lachlan Luckinbill.
He ticked me off so much.
I don't
this week.
even know what to call you, Tim Drake or Lachlan Luckinbill. I just don't know.
And then what did he decide? Call me Cal.
Yeah, I don't even know what that name is.
No,
Doesn't make any sense.
I was just so mad. I was like, "This is your chance. You can dig your way out from underneath this stupid name pun that Brian keeps doing. Just say your name is Tim. Your name is Tim."
His name is Tim Drake. His name is Tim Drake. So she tries to fun run that man right out of her hair when suddenly she runs into half of Firestorm Ronnie Raymond, who wants to apologize for being a drunken jerk to her a few issues ago. They go to the same college.
And that college is pretty hopping.
Yeah, really. So they go off to have coffee, and Lachlan Luckinbill is looking on from the shadows, either feeling sorry for himself or Ronnie, because Madison is going to flip when she finds out he's a superhero too.
Oh, I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. Oh, poor gal.
Yeah. So, checking in with Voodoo, Mercy, Banger, and Mash.
Yes.
They were all working for Sergeant Rock of Easy Company, who is now just plain old Frank Rock, a Black Ops jerk face who hires mercenaries to do his dirty work, including these guys. They all work for Cadmus and King Faraday. Let's see, he's got an OMAC bodyguard that looks like a real person and everything, and he is hiring these 4 ladies to kill 50 Sue.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, off on Cadmus Island, 50 Sue's ears perk up. Huh.
That was like a weird panel.
Yeah.
Do you think she knows we're coming? And then she's just standing there at Kevin Simon like,
Yeah. For too Lana Lang's just like, hey, what are you doing over there, Sue? It's like, don't worry, I might be here, but I might be somewhere else at the same time. Give me a minute. Then we cut to 35 years in the future.
Man, that was a quick jump.
Yeah. Where Brother Eye
I
is
completely forgot about this scene.
talking with his dad, Mr. Terrific. He's going to introduce him to his new soldier that he's going to send back in time to stop Batman Beyond. It's his other dad, Batman.
Oh.
Except now he has the Joker's head grafted onto the back of his head, and
He's
nightmare
Manny
fuel.
Faces.
I actually have that written down.
Manny Faces.
Yes, he's Batman, but his head can swivel around on its axis and then bring you like the Janus head of Joker on the other side. It's all wacky and Silver Age up front, and then it goes all dark and gritty at the end. It's like,
So before we move on, though, there was a couple pages at the end of each issue here this week that was possibly having something to do with this particular book.
Yeah.
A lot of quick images that I would say are...
teaser trailer almost for the second half of Future's End.
Yeah, and were there any of those that stood out to you?
One or two.
Which ones stood out to you?
I don't want to spoil things. If people, I guess people can see it anyway. But
it's the end of the book.
I know. Yeah. Poor Frankenstein. Just poor
I
Frankenstein.
Unfortunately, we called that one.
Hey, Palmer.
Ah, it happens when you just start grafting things onto people like all willy nilly. Mine was the Tim Drake holding the cowl.
Yeah.
Where it looks like he's gonna try to take the mantle there.
Mm-hmm.
So would that mess up the timeline, and then the Batman in the future isn't Bruce Wayne, but actually Tim Drake?
I don't know. We will find out.
Man, this timeline stuff's
Wonky.
all over the place.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this issue, though?
It was the Madison Payne, like Rex Morgan MD, style interlude was a bit much, but the front end was really cool. I got a soft spot for Stormwatch.
Yeah.
Even though it looks nothing like the original Stormwatch.
Yes,
I don't care.
yes.
I like all the characters that are involved in it.
You're still the Eminence. So.
Yes, I am still the Eminence.
So that's all that matters.
Harry Tanner will save us all.
But before he saves us, we have more books to do. So, Brian, what are you doing on round 2 here?
I'm going to find out if we've got to swipe left or swipe right on the Batgirl of Burnside. I've got... what else do I have? You've got another big chunk in there.
Yeah.
Green Lantern Corps 35, Superman Wonder Woman 12.
Oh, man, that was so good.
And Justice League United number 5.
And then I am going full on Bat because I have Batman Eternal number 27 as we do our 3rd weekly of this week. That's going to be so rough. I have Batman number 35, the beginning of Endgame, and then I will wrap up my books with Suicide Squad number 3. How does it link up to the Bats? It's Joker's daughter versus Harley Quinn. Yeah! So hold on a couple seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through those books. We're back. The first one didn't go through because I was in the background going, God damn Batman.
God damn Batman.
Because that's what we're doing. It's the Bat half of the show
Back
as we...
Bat.
Back in Bat? That's hard to say. Don't do that. Don't make me have to say something like that. We're going to start off with Batman Eternal number 27, weekly number 3.
All right.
333. Kelly, what's happening in Batman Eternal?
Stuff.
Okay. Are there people in it?
Yes.
Would you say that it's almost like Hush and maybe a bunch of other people are trying to dismantle the Bat family?
Yeah, this is the book with Hush, isn't it?
Yeah, the one that Brian... I
that
keep away from Brian.
This is the one that Brian whines about.
That's the one. And that's what we're going to do right now because I'm just going to dive right into it. I'm not going to backfill too much on this one. Do you guys remember Jade, the little girl?
No.
Okay.
Is that the person that they saved from Ten-Eyed Man?
That is the one they saved that was hanging out with Killer Croc all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We find out a little bit more about her. She got dropped off at Child Services, and Child Services dropped her off with her living relative, her uncle, Ivanescu. Does that name ring a bell for anyone?
No.
Oh, no? Do you remember the guy that was stealing all of the rare animals from Tiger Shark at the beginning of one of those issues? That Catwoman swooped in and saved the kitty cat, but it got shot?
Okay.
No, I don't remember that.
He's another gang guy that's stealing from another gang guy named Tiger Shark. And
I know I'm endlessly amused by Tiger Shark after we added to his story.
But unfortunately, his giant mansion is full of all of the rare animals and farm animals and everything that they stole from
Rare
Tiger.
farm animals?
Well, no, there's rare animals and just farm animals.
Okay.
Like there's a cow that keeps blocking the TV as they're trying to watch it and stuff. They're just running rampant throughout this giant.
And that's when you just yell, moo.
Well done.
And we
We're
find
getting
out
into slap happy Kelly mode, so I'm just letting you know
that's
that.
fine. It's about time we hit there. We find out Jade, the daughter of a McKillen. So I don't know if it's Aaron McKillen's daughter or the sister's daughter or what, but she is one of the kids of the McKillens. As we know, long history with Two-Face and Batman that actually, at the end of it, caused Two-Face to kill himself. That, according to Tomasi, that was what happened. Two-Face shot himself. He is dead. The end. No more. So, house full of animals, craziness. what the heck's going on here? And that's when Ivanescu gets the phone call saying that their money drop, where they were trying to drop off drugs and other contraband down in the subways, has been broken up by Batman and Catwoman, who are down there beating up all the gangs, being the Whispers. They were briefly mentioned in Batman a long time ago. The McKillens themselves, and a new group of people called the Ferrymen, who kind of lead people through all the catacombs underneath of Gotham, all the subway tunnels and everything like that. So they're beating them up. So
they're like tour guides?
Kind of. Very much so. But they're working for someone else, the Ferryman, that we'll find out who he is a little bit. They're beating up all these gang members, trying to find intel on Hush. Where is he? Where's he at? I know you guys know something. None of them know anything, so they end up leaving. Catwoman takes all the cash they had and is just gonna wander off with it. But Batman, of course, scolds her. That's not how we do things, bad Catwoman. And she's kind of had enough of his, talking down to her all the time, incessantly. She goes, you know what? Kind of done with this. You have fun with your little thing. If you need me, call, but I'm out. And she leaves the money and goes off on her own, where she's standing up on a rooftop, and there's a cat there, and she's like, hey, kitty cat, should I go back and apologize? That was kind of mean of me. And then the kitty cat starts walking away, and she's like, no, you're right. I'm going to play hard to get. Thank you, kitty cat, for telling me exactly what I should do. And then she kind of goes off on her own. We'll check in with her.
Didn't she know that cats are jerks?
Well, yeah, I mean, she's Catwoman. She's a jerk herself sometimes. A lot of the time, actually. So, little side stories. Killer Croc is on the hunt for Jade because this little girl has been under his protection. And he's beating up gang members himself. He's beating up all the chick monsters underneath Gotham. He ends up crashing in on Leslie Tompkins' child services office, trying to find him, and then eventually beats up an Ivanescu gang member who says, yeah, she's back at the boss's house. That's where she's at. And he's like, ooh, why you? And he's gonna go free her. Batgirl, meanwhile, has trussed up Commissioner Bard, because he was given all of the evidence to release her dad. She knows he's working with Hush, and she is not happy. So she's dropping him from rooftops, trying to get what information she can, and just trying to scare the bejesus out of him to finally get her dad free. Those are kind of our little side stories that are going on at the same time. This is where this book turned for me, this particular issue. Batman goes, well, I'm going to head back to the Batcave. I need to find out more intel on Hush. And he's driving down the street, and as we see in the panel, Stephanie Brown is hiding because, of course, last issue, she accidentally put a hit out on her own head, and there are a bunch of assassins out trying to kill her. Batman, though, is just driving down the street. Dopey derp, 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 going to the Batcave. And coming on the opposite side, driving down the street, is a pink motorcycle with the flamingo just driving down the street, and they both pass each other, and they both look at each other as they drive past each other, and then it's just like it's Batman, and he's like, it's the flamingo, and then they turn around, and the flamingo's trying to do like a freaking bull rush. He pulls out his cape, and he's like going, ole, as the Batmobile's driving through it. I was just happy to see the flamingo back in action all over the place. And then Batman gets tired of the whole thing, so he shoots a batarang at his motorcycle, and he crashes, and he ends up going up to him, his crumpled form on the side of the street. Why do we love the flamingo, Kelly? You don't remember who the flamingo is?
No.
He's Matador assassin Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, he's the flamboyant assassin.
Oh.
He's amazing.
He's just so much fun every time he shows up, and that's why I was so happy to see him, especially introduced in that manner where they just drive past each other. I was like, that's funny.
That is great.
But Batman goes up to the crumpled body and sees a note pinned to the sleeve. And he's like, what the heck? And he picks it up and reads it, and it says, Dear Bats, this is spoiler. Thank you for stopping the assassin from trying to kill me. It is much appreciated. I have other stuff I have to do before we talk. Gots to go. KK, thanks, bye. And love, spoiler. Who, of course, is Stephanie Brown. Mm-hmm. And he's just kind of looking off like, what the heck is this? But one of the things in the note, it's a great little thing. She warns him that there is a hashtag on Twitter called Batman Sightings that everyone from crooks to people trying to get photos of him are all posting to it, and that's how she's able to track him through the city. that, hey, you might want to do something about that, because if people were really smart, they could figure out where you're going or what you're doing very, very easily by following you on Twitter.
Batman's just like, Twitter? What is this?
See, me and Batman, we don't know.
He needs to set up his own bat-themed Twitter, and then it's just be like, all Batman references are bannable. I don't know. It was a nice little scene as far as how Spoiler introduces herself to Batman. I think that's a nice way of doing it.
Wait, so that wasn't the flamingo at all? It was just...
No, it was the flamingo. He was one of the assassins trying to kill her that saw the money out there for his
Batman
head.
just took him out.
Yeah, and then she kind of used the Twitter feed to figure out where he was at, and then led the flamingo so that they would pass each other on the street, and then went, weep wah, and then pinned the note, shot a little note off onto his sleeve.
Okay.
This issue ends though with Catwoman returning home to find Jade there. And she's like, Jade, what are you doing here? I mean, I know you hung out here before. You can listen to music all the time. And Jade turns around crying, going, he made me lead him here. He made me come here. I'm so sorry. And we turn around to see that the ferryman is there for her. And Brian, I know you're not going to believe this. The ferryman, Mr. Bone. And he's there looking for revenge. Tell me you remember Mr. Bone.
Not DEA Mr. Bone.
No, not Mr. Bones.
No,
Mr. Bone.
Mr. Bone, was he
He's
from...
made all of bone, and he's a gang leader.
Dr. Phosphorus?
No. He was the guy that killed her old fence before. It was
before
the
I
first,
started reading
no, it was
Catwoman?
the first issue of Catwoman
Oh,
that
wow.
you did. It was the first issue where he showed up, killed the lady that Catwoman was working with, and then they had a whole big fight, and she embarrassed him in some odd manner, and then went about her business. That was the first issue you did. So I was curious if you'd remember.
I remember a little girl that has bones strapped to her body like armor.
No, not her.
Okay.
Not her. Strap some more bones on her. So yeah, it's a callback. It is actually following in continuity. And this guy is was embarrassed by Catwoman a long time ago, and now he is out looking for revenge, and that's where it ends, with him about to club her over the head with a big bone.
Okay.
Gotta follow those themes, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. Some new developments there. Flamingo always wins my vote, so I like the way Batman Eternal's running. But here's where I was talking about before about the weird storylines. We had 0 Year. Obviously, the origin of Batman.
Yeah.
Kind of his coming of age, short sleeve, dirt bike Batman.
Riddler turns Gotham City into The Last of Us.
Yeah, all that type of stuff. Then we jumped ahead a couple years, and we got like the stuff going on in Justice League at the beginning, the forming of the Justice League, and then we jump ahead a little bit into the modern day adventures, and we kind of had the whole Death of the Family stuff leading into it, and Death of the Family leads straight into Batman Eternal. Now, after Batman Eternal comes what we're getting in Batman now, which is Batman Endgame. This all takes place after Eternal has finished its run. That needs to be said because otherwise it will make no sense whatsoever. This is a big book. This is the biggest controversy around this book. They raised the price on it $1 because it was oversized.
Yeah.
And everyone was kind of ticked off because it looked like they were going to do, well, it didn't look like it. They were going to charge $4.99 per issue for this entire run. And everyone was like, no, we're not spending $5 an issue. And then Capullo and Snyder went to DC and actually convinced them to drop it back down for everything after this issue. I was actually very surprised by that.
Good on them.
Yeah, definitely good on them. So post Batman Eternal, Batman is recovering from a scarecrow attack. He has been injected with some sort of fear toxin that keeps making him relive his death. It's going to keep showing him how he's going to die in all these various stupid ways. And he's in ER kind of, not ER, he's just kind of hanging around the new Batcave that is a penthouse office in the middle of Gotham City. A lot of light, very vibrant and bright. He's operating during the day.
Looks like it was a former Court of Owls location.
It was a former Court of Owls location, it looks like. And he is there talking
Gotta
to...
get rid of all these owls in here. Oh, it still doesn't match my decor.
But he's talking to both of the Pennyworths, both Alfred as well as his daughter, Julia, who are both working for him right now. And as they're having their little ha-ha conversation, you need to get all patched up from that scarecrow attack, all of a sudden Wonder Woman comes crashing through the window, flies off with Bruce Wayne and goes, "It's time. We're sick of your crap. We all agreed in the Justice League. We're going to murder you right now. You just need to die. Die, 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 die." And I guess he had his belt with him, so he attaches some little thing to her forehead that makes her drop him. And he uses that time to call in, what is his plan? Release Fenrir! Which is quite literally his giant robot his mecha that he calls in. And, it's his anti-Justice
League.
No
Hellbat armor, but.
No, but his anti-Justice League mech suit that he has put together, and it releases gas throughout the city to make quite literally an arena in the middle of Gotham. Everyone runs away thinking it's a gas attack. So all the citizens are gone. It's safe for them to have their brawl, and that's exactly what happens. So I'm going to run down the line here of what happens in this book. Wonder Woman, we see her slaughtering Bruce Wayne, cutting off arms, stabbing. But then when we pull back, we find out that Bruce Wayne had bought a, what's it called? The Bind of Veils. Another rope that was made by Hephaestus right after he made the Lasso of Truth, but this one works opposite and kind of shows people whatever they want, even though it's not true. So she's stuck standing there with this bind around her, seeing herself killing Bruce Wayne, even though she's not.
Yeah.
Quickly, though, pun not intended, the Flash shows up and just starts dismantling the armor, just running by and grabbing a piece, unscrewing a bolt here, lifting a flap there, and he's tearing it apart. And this all happens in the time frame it takes Bruce Wayne to say, "Engage Flash Protocol." And it's basically as he's saying that, the Flash is just zipping back and forth, tearing apart this armor. And what the Flash Protocol is, how do I put this, Brian? It is a bat banana peel.
Yes.
That uses servers to figure out where the Flash will be at a certain point, shoots out a batarang with zero friction on it, and makes him go whoop, 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 and crash into a building.
He consulted with Catwoman on her wacky races expertise to figure out what to do.
Anytime there is a Justice League throwdown and it ends with a Flintstones and someone crashing into the ground, something's a little wrong, I think. But as soon as he gets done with that, Aquaman appears behind him and he's like, "Oh, turn around, Batman, fight with honor for once in your life." And that's when he engages the Bubblicious Gambit that shoots a whole bunch of pink gum around him.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets dropped to the ground. It's a moisture absorbing some sort of gunk. So it's kind of wrapped up the Aquaman there. And he's
like the more it's like quicksand. It's like the more he struggles, the more water it absorbs out of him.
Pretty much. But then it ends when, of course, Superman comes in and just plows him 7 city blocks into the Opera House. And as Superman is walking up, Bruce Wayne's yelling at him like, "Superman, you gotta fight this, whatever it is. Who did this to you? What happened?" And Superman goes, "Well, that's the funny thing." And his face kind of morphs into the Joker as they all start laughing to themselves. Big old rigor mortis grins on each one of the Justice League's faces, and it ends with Bruce Wayne like, "No!" as it has a little tagline at the bottom, "He's back." I'm assuming they mean the Joker.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe we'll find out it's the Joker's daughter.
Ugh.
She's gotten legitimate now. But there was a backup to this, and this backup is a great storytelling device. Doctor from Arkham Manor, in this case, not Arkham Asylum, Arkham Manor, we'll get there here in a little bit, has left the hospital. 5 people of their patients have escaped. She returns home to find all 5 of them in her house. And of course, little creeped out by that fact. And they go, "Don't worry, we're not here to kill you. We need to tell you stories. We have to." And one of them is just, these people are way crazy. Way crazy. And one of them tells a story about how he met the devil years ago, and that's who told him to kill all these women and steal these little girls and do all these horrible things. But the Joker is the devil in this story. It's this pale like demon, and then it forms the face of the Joker, and he's trying to tell this doctor it's the Joker. The Joker is not a man. He's the devil himself. He's Satan. He's just pure evil incarnate. He's not mortal whatsoever. And then one of the other patients go, no, that's the wrong story. Here's what actually happens. And they go, no, that's against the rules. We have to go to the next location. And we find out that each one of these patients has been told a history/story of the Joker, and each one of them has to tell this doctor their story, and whichever one is right, whoever's telling the right story gets to live, and everyone else has to die. And as we see in the background, there is a pale Joker-like face in the woods watching all of this happen, quite happily, I might add. But it's a very creepy little story as far as that seems to be a big thing as far as what is the origin of the Joker. Almost kind of did I ever tell you how I got these scars type thing?
Yeah.
You never know if he's telling the truth. You never know what the actual backstory is. Was he even the Red Hood at some point? Was he a comedian? Was he just one bad day type thing?
It's just because there's so many villains months and God knows what else that they'd have to rehash their origin story that they just, they can't keep telling the same story over and over again.
Well, there's
right?
that, but with the Joker, they've kind of turned it into this. It's more than that type thing. That it's kind of who he is. He is chaos. You're never going to get the straight answer, or if you do, you probably won't believe it because you've been told so many things that haven't been true about his past.
Part of what builds his mystique.
Yeah, I mean, his actual backstory could be out there, but there's been so many, and he's told so many different stories himself. You don't know which one's the truth anymore. And it's kind of a nice way of getting around that whole thing, allowing them to tell all these different stories
or the
at
writers
the same time.
just forgot.
Well, but someone came in and cleaned it up with that. As far as a new crossover, I would have much preferred at least a breather after 0 Year, but this one started off pretty good, I have to admit.
Man, fighting the Justice League, it's an easy sell.
It's an easy sell, but at the same time, it is it's not a cheap out either. I mean, it's him getting his butt kicked by all, except for Aquaman. Aquaman did kind of get screwed in this one.
Oh, well.
So moving on, you got some bad stuff too, don't you?
Yeah, Batgirl 35, or thank God I stopped dating before the whole smartphone thing.
No kidding.
Yep. So, Batgirl decides to move to Burnside, the hipster area of Gotham, to go to college. She leaves her old roommate, Elysia, and moves in with her new one, Frankie. They knew each other from physical therapy.
Frankie!
Well, yes, they knew each other from physical therapy. They're tying up old things. They aren't just suddenly hacking off and saying, oh, look, Batgirl's like a teenager now. It's like, no, they're actually tying in the old continuity.
Yep.
So they're young, and they party, and they have unfortunate drunken hookups. She has young person financial problems. Black Canary shows up at her new apartment looking to crash because her old hideout burned down.
No, why didn't she go to the condormitory then?
I know, right? So, Batgirl suddenly freaks out because, oh man, I was storing all my Batgirl stuff there during the move. Oh crap. And on top of all this, everyone in the area is losing their phones and laptops. Barbara lost hers at the party and it had her big paper on it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, she's got to turn that in. So she uses her photographic memory and her detective skills to like remember everything that happened at the party.
Her hazy photographic memory because she drank too much.
Mm-hmm.
But why doesn't she use her photographic memory to redo the paper?
Because there's a lot of typing. Maybe she's a very slow typer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just saying.
Typist. Or she was really drunk when she wrote it.
Yes. And she tracks it down to someone who was at their apartment because of DC's Tinder equivalent, Hook. H-O-O-Q. Hook. So, Babs tarts herself up for her own Hook profile and luckily gets paired up with the computer thief.
She doesn't tart herself
Well, yes,
up. Her roommate tarts
makeover, cha-cha-cha. So...
What was that?
So that was the makeover montage right there.
It's from Clone High. I love it. So, she gets paired up with the computer thief. We get a 1-page cosplay tutorial on her new costume and goes to beat the crap out of the guy.
Yeah, I was not impressed with that, Brian. Don't try to use that, again to get me to read a comic. 'Cause it won't work.
Okay.
There was sewing.
With sewing, there was fabric paint with those little sponge brushes you have.
Was there action sequences? Was it like, splotch?
Anyways.
So, this guy, he's been stealing all the tech to sell to Riot Black, who runs a revenge porn/humiliation website called The Black Book. She goes to Riot's big website relaunch party, and he is just this tattooed, pierced, cornrowed, James Franco-looking scumbag who had
James Franco.
It looks like his character from Spring Breakers, okay?
I know.
But he has cybernetic implants in his brain that lets him download and remember everything. Naked selfies, cam sessions, personal info, everything on a computer he can remember. And he's built up this cult of personality where if people send this stuff to him, he'll embarrass someone who isn't them, and they think that he's a hero. So she goes to fight him and eventually tricks him into deleting all of his files if she shows who she is under the mask. So she Snapchats a picture to him, but she had a QR code over her face that immediately sends him to a malware site that deletes everything. The black book, his brain. Pretty awesome.
That was a great way of getting around
really
it.
great, yeah. So, back at the apartment, Babs realizes that when Riot Black stole her laptop, it might have triggered the explosives in her old gear and might have burned down Black Canary's old apartment.
Aww.
Whoops. Also, she gets a text from someone that knows she's Batgirl, so...
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
So, I can't help but notice this tone is slightly different.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna ask you guys straight out. Did you like this issue?
I've never read any other ones, so...
Well, that doesn't matter. I'm not saying in comparison to anything. I'm just saying, did you like it?
Yeah, it was alright.
Like
Brian?
the artwork and everything?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah?
She actually felt like a realistic 20-something. 20, like early 20-year-old.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely there.
Because I'm not, I mean, the artwork did a lot for me. I was already a fan of Babs Tarr, and just from her posting stuff on the internet, I had no idea she had this kind of, storytelling chops in her arsenal. I was just used to seeing like pinups and stuff.
Sure.
So I was really impressed by that. It felt young and different, and, she does, let's face it, Barbara Gordon, if she's supposed to be, if she has always been a 20-year-old, she's been dressing like a 35-year-old with weird spandex that perfectly encases her boobs, and spandex doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
These actually look like realistic kids now.
Yes.
So, it felt like something different, and it felt like the kind of thing that they maybe should have been treating Batgirl as from the start.
And she did act how I would act if I walked out, in my underwear and some random guy, showed up. I would probably do the same thing as her, is try to cover up as much as possible.
So happy I'm a guy. Because I would just still be going, where's the cereal at? I'm hungry. No, there is one thing though. This is I am surprised DC Comics is not being sued by readers of Batgirl, because the tonal whiplash of where we have been for the last 3 years to this issue is so harsh. There are necks popping left and right that if people have been following this book up to this point, there was no transition. There was no, other than the news. But not everyone is following this stuff and saying, okay, well, there's going to be a change, and you're ordering 3 months out, and all of a sudden this shows up at your door and you're like, what the hell is this in comparison? Plus, this seemed very much aimed at a different group of people than your average comic book reader. And I'm not saying that in a negative tone on either side.
Oddly enough, a Batgirl book aimed at a young female audience written by...
A young female?
Well, I'm not...
Yeah.
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate
by a young
here.
Female. Yeah, I know.
I enjoyed the title for what it was. Again, it was also the thank God I was born when I was, because my life would have been complete crap otherwise, because this stuff didn't exist back then, and I still got myself in a lot of trouble with relationships and stuff of that ilk. So thank God there was no interwebs out there, really.
There were very little interwebs.
Yes.
Available.
Someone would have to have put together a GeoCities page with a bunch of flashing GIFs with a picture of me doing something, and it just wouldn't have survived. So yay! My Angelfire page is gonna destroy you.
As soon as this construction stick figure is done, it's going to destroy you.
I clicked on it, and an hour later, as each line loads of this picture, you have to sit there in pain. So yes, thankfully that did not exist. It does seem like it's a it's a massive leap forward to the present in comparison not only to the Batgirl series, but all of the other titles as well. I would say the movement was probably the closest we've gotten to a true present day kids book. Teen Titans is getting a lot better.
Yeah, Titans is
since
getting
it's
better.
launched with its Cult of Personality online type stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Green Team,
movement was and the Green Team, now that you mention it, felt very inauthentic.
Yeah,
as much as
I
I liked
the movement as much though.
As much as I liked other parts of it, yeah.
I didn't get a not authentic feel from the movement. I did from the Green Team a little bit. But it was a bunch of rich kids. I'm not really gonna latch on to them to begin with. Mm-hmm. Go Richie Rich and your pals. Yay, have fun. Mm-hmm. The movement, I did not get that same vibe from at all. It was just, as you've always said, they didn't even start the book with the characters in it. Yeah. So it was a rocky start for me, and I think for a lot of other people, and that's why that one fell short. But as far as even your Superman, when he was working at a blog, you even joked around all the time that it was we found internet words and we're going to use them here. They don't fit, but we're just going to put it here.
Blog. What's that Julia Child movie where like they keep saying blog like they've never heard the word before?
Julia and Julia?
Yeah, Julia and Julia, yeah. Blog. Doesn't even sound like a word anymore. Blog.
No, but it's kind of, that's how the rest of the DCU feels in comparison to this particular issue right now. Mm-hmm. It's not tone deaf. It sounds so rude. It's just, it's catering to a more broad audience that maybe has been reading these books longer than Tinders and stuff like that have been around, which isn't that hard to do since Tinder's been around, 4 years, so. But
they're broadening the net.
They are, and
which is the kind of thing that I will admit, I'm the kind of dork who, when I saw the new 52 lineup, I'm just like, this is what I would have done. And I wrote down a little list of what I would have done, and with the 52 titles I would have liked to have seen. And one of the things I very specifically tried to do was differentiate age brackets. And this is something that actually, hey, look, it's for younger girls, which you don't get enough stuff of in the superhero universe.
Do you think this is for younger girls?
I like it.
Younger than us?
Well, I like it, but I feel old reading.
That was kind of the thing. I was reading it too, and again, it's just like thank God, dodged a bullet there. To quote Sinestro.
But I mean, it's like, I only feel old reading it because I had no idea what Hook was. Brian had to actually.
You don't have a Tinder profile? Man.
Why would I have a Tinder profile? He said it's an online dating thing. Why would I?
No, it's a friend-finding application.
If I didn't have Hollywood Scott, I would not have known anything about it.
It doesn't do much good in rural Ohio, as it does in a major metropolitan area.
Yeah. Yes, he actually turned it on when he came into town. He was just like, "Oh my God, this is so sad."
Poor guy.
Yes,
leaving civilization like that.
Yeah.
No, I can understand there does seem to be some blowback from people. It's not aimed at them at all. And again, we've said that's not a bad thing. If you like every book published by DC Comics is doing something wrong. I've said that multiple times. Mm-hmm. They should be aiming at so many different demographics that you should have books that are aimed at you. Not necessarily your demographic, but just your tastes. And then other people's tastes are out there as well that may not align. And that's why I try to give the benefit of the doubt to a lot of books that aren't aimed at our style. Yeah. You do as well, Brian. Mm-hmm. Because we know that's just what it is. That's diversification, which they should be doing.
I don't like a lot of things.
You don't like a lot of things?
Well, I don't like a lot of the comics. I don't like a lot of them. But okay, a lot of them that like a lot of my friends who are girls are like, "Oh my God, I totally love that." It's like, why?
You're not very effervescent today.
I'm tired. No, but what I'm saying is, my friends who like those other things, they probably will not like this, where I did like this. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is okay. Yeah. It's just, I saw a lot of mixed reviews, and I completely understand where people are coming from when they go, no, this is not what especially coming off of what Gail Simone did for the first 3 years on this title. Yeah. This, again, tonal whiplash of the highest degree. Whereas I was not interested in the previous stuff, and I'm like, oh, this seems different and fun. So I'm totally on board for it. So we will see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
if you're willing to try something different, it may not be up your alley at all. I give you forewarning. It's kind of the Dial H gambit, where we were like, we love this book. We think it's awesome. We know most of you will not like it.
I don't think this is that as crazy as Dial H.
No. It's not like that. It's just a matter of, again, the taste and tones.
If you are grumpy and set in your ways, like
no,
most comic fans are, perhaps, you might not care for it.
As I said, it's a tonal thing as well. If you didn't know what and half that stuff was referencing, you would just be like, these people are a bunch of painted Jezebels. What the hell?
That barista had a fantastic mustache.
He did.
That was like a level 10 mustache.
So moving on. We'll come back to Batgirl next time she swings by.
Did she ever get her coffee?
No, she didn't.
She didn't.
What happened with the coffee?
It's like Hudson Hawk. She couldn't get her cappuccino by the end. Poor Hudson Hawk.
You're the only person that knows what happened to Hudson Hawk.
I used to like that movie. I'm like the only
Oh, you're the one.
Yeah. I don't know why I liked it. I knew it was crap. I knew it was utter crap, but I liked it. And I watched it every time it came on. So next up, Suicide Squad number 3. I'm sorry. All new Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Number 3. They are in Russia, Soviet Russia, and their mission has gone to crap. Our team being Deadshot, Deathstroke, Joker's daughter, Harley Quinn, and Black Manta as the odd man out. But everything's gone to crap. Deadshot's been captured by the Russian military. Deathstroke just left. No one knows where he went. We know he's actually talking to the Russian military about signing on with them if they pay him enough, but no one knows where he's at whatsoever. And Black Manta has the worst of everyone, though, because he's stuck mediating the fight between Joker's daughter and Harley Quinn. He's just standing in the middle, holding them apart by their faces as they are just squabble while he's trying to talk to Amanda Waller and Vic Sage and figure out where Deadshot is so they can rescue him before they bug on out of there. Yeah, we'll come back to the Harley Quinn stuff here in a second. Vic Sage does not like being questioned whatsoever. He is now the government operative that is leading the Suicide Squad, and Black Manta's like, look, we're not going to leave Deadshot behind. We're aborting this mission. We're getting him. We're getting out of here. And Vic Sage goes, no, that's not your mission. You have to go assassinate that guy and get all this intel on the new Rocket Red program that they obviously have going on. So, screw you, screw Deadshot. Go do that instead. Black Manta says no. And then he puts Black Manta on hold. And I just have this great picture in my head of Black Manta standing in the middle of Russia with do. But while the Girl from Ipanema is playing, Vic Sage is going, Amanda Waller, just detonate his head, please. Just hit the button for me. And she goes, no, I'm not going to detonate his head just because he won't listen to you. So Vic Sage gets frustrated and leaves. He walks out on the whole mission. Fine, whatever. It's on your head now. And Amanda Waller goes, hey, here's where Deadshot's at. You'll probably want to get there soon. I have a feeling he's not going to live too much longer. Unfortunately, this is when the fight between Joker's daughter and Harley Quinn bubbles over finally, and they end up beating each other up for a couple pages until Harley Quinn knocks her out. The entire time Harley Quinn's yelling at her that she is unoriginal. She has latched herself onto the Joker that Joker's daughter has, and that's a bad move. She's the one that knows best. He's a dead end. You have to be your own woman. Don't follow the same mistakes I made and latch onto the Joker like that.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
No. Stick to the lakes and the rivers that you're used to. Mm-hmm. That was definitely a quote from TLC. I know that was a quote. No, I'm just going to creep on out of here. What have you ever seen that?
Yes.
I love
Other
it.
guys.
So,
that's a good one.
Anyway, the whole time she's yelling at her until she finally knocks out Joker's daughter, and she's standing over the body as Black Manta walks up. She's like, I'm a therapist. I'm helping. And it's like, okay, whatever. Slump her over your shoulder. Let's go. We're going to go pick up Deadshot. And as we see, he is being tortured by the Russian military, trying to get facts of the others off of him, but he will not break. And that is when Deathstroke punches in his time card and says, take a break, boys. I got it from here. And is going to take over the torturing of his arch nemesis Deadshot on this team. Weep-wah, sucks to be Deadshot. As per always, really the only person in the DCU that has it worse than Deadshot are Killo.
Yeah.
Those two could pretty much hang out and have beers at some point because they are the welcome mats of the DCU right now. That's where it goes. It's more of that Bourne Identity style mission across the border. It's kind of a Bond type Black Ops mission thing with all of these characters. I still really don't care for Joker's daughter whatsoever. Deathstroke I'm fine with being on the team because he is a mercenary to the highest degree and that could add some fun like this, but God, I'm so not into Joker's daughter.
Me either.
So move on.
All right, you have failed to safeguard this universe. The time of the lanterns has ended. Green Lantern Corps number 35.
Oh, I thought it was Green Arrow because they failed to protect this universe. You have failed this universe.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun. So, Godhead, we are continuing on. Jon Stewart and some lanterns, Aregia, Vath, and Isamat, if you're keeping score, are inspecting the
They're
planet.
important lanterns, I'll have you know.
I know. They are inspecting the planet that the new gods obliterated with their scepter that had rings taped to it. So they get attacked by the mutated inhabitants. And then Uga of the new gods shows up. Ooga. Even better. I'm going to say it like that now. He shows up and he's a huge jerk. He's like the warrior of the new gods. A huge battle that Uga and his crew ultimately dominate. Vath might be dead. They only escape because Indigo 1 shows up and teleports them away. Bernard.
Indigo 2. Or is that 1? Yeah,
I think that's 1, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry.
2 was the one that lost
2 is
the
the
ring.
one that lost his ring. So
Yeah.
I messed up last week.
Yeah, so, yeah, Bernard frickin' Chang, guys. Let's just have him draw.
Freaking Chang.
Yeah, let's just have him draw, new gods all the time.
So what if you get
and also in this, Metron and Highfather locate Kyle Rayner and a few other bits and bobs to fill you in if you were just reading core.
Okay. Yeah. That was nice of them at least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you at least
and it didn't like derail the whole story or anything.
Good. I like that. I love it when they do that where you don't have to really follow the rest of it, but it's implied you should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just in case we're not completely isolating you here. Right?
Yeah. So we can still make a trade that doesn't have no sense whatsoever in it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Still good though? Are you still on board the Godhead
good.
train?
I'm on board with Godhead. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm glossing over it because you can just but the character interaction and the new gods just being unbelievable jerks. It's kind of great.
They're really D-bags.
That scepter didn't work because your rings are broken. Not us. We're perfect. We're gods.
Yeah, we're gods.
Hello.
We're infallible. Come on, man.
So good. I'm so on board with this crossover, which I don't remember the last time I was this on board with a crossover.
But disturbingly enough, your next book was honestly my favorite one of this week.
I can see why. Superman Wonder Woman number 12. So do you remember when Wonder Woman gave Superman a sword as a present? And Superman was just like, I don't collect swords. He gave her a weird alien plant that she had to give a little cooking oil instead of watering. Well, she forgot to oil the plant, and it turned into an oil-hungry monster that starts ravaging England and goes after a giant oil platform off of Scotland.
I loved how they did the catch you up backstory.
Yeah, they showed you everything that has happened in Superman and Wonder Woman since that issue.
But underneath it is the plant slowly gaining sentience and growing into this monster as the months go by.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They hilariously start bickering. It's like, why couldn't you tell me it was a monster? Why couldn't you follow simple instructions and just oil your plant, Wonder Woman?
I'm sorry I forgot to water the plant. I told you it didn't take water, it take oil.
And then suddenly they realize, wait a minute. I love you. Who would cause us to start bickering? Mercy.
Mercy?
Mercy. Wait, why did I say mercy?
I think you mean strife.
Yeah. I got confused by the one in Future's End. I read too many books, Sean. Strife.
How do you confuse the name when the name means exactly what they're doing?
I don't know.
Because it's late?
Yes. No, that's just my notes.
Brian took terrible notes.
I took terrible notes. I also called Black Adam Black Atom. So Superman calls in his buddy Swamp Thing to take care of the alien plant. Everyone kisses and makes up, except for Swamp Thing. No one loves Swamp Thing.
No, poor Swampy.
Yeah.
I did like how they show up and he's like, so, how are things going? Pretty good. Thanks for swinging by my book a couple months ago to help boost sales a little bit, but things have been rough recently, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
Well, just while you're dealing with all your stuff, can you swing by over England real quick and deal with this aliens plant monster thing I may have accidentally unleashed on the planet?
Sure, why not? Be Mr. Plant Guy.
But Charles Soule got to play with all of his toys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
He was just like, wee. We just needed a red lantern flying above. Like, what the hell is that?
That plant monster could have become a red lantern.
Could have, actually. Would have fit in with all the other ones that were there.
Why won't you just give me my oil? So we're going to finish off with Justice League United number 5.
But go buy Superman Wonder Woman. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a great one-issue thing, yeah. So, the Justice League United is back at their home base in the Moose Factory, where they meet up with Mia Bean and her friend that looks like a grandma.
What is up with that?
I don't know. So they're on the run from the Witago. It's kind of like a Wendigo, but probably more culturally accurate.
Probably.
Just a bit. At the same time, a Hawkman's old transmitter goes off. Hawkman, but he's been dead for about, I don't know, like 20 minutes our time.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, it's a split-up Justice League action time. Supergirl, Green Arrow, and Animal Man, of course they've got to go together, and Stargirl go off to space via a Zeta beam.
Because that's your space team right there.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Green Arrow, Animal Man.
Animal Man always winds up in space somehow, though, doesn't he?
He does.
You're reading 52 now. He always winds up in space. I am on that
part right now where it's Eyeless Adam Strange and what's his name?
Starfire.
Animal Man and Starfire.
And
they
Lobo
were trapped on
up.
Paradise.
Has Lobo shown up yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Which, we'll talk about that the next issue of Lobo, but Pope Lobo of the Porpoise People or something? What the hell?
Yep. That's why he's got...
That's Morrison, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is so Morrison.
I know it was 4 people writing it, but as soon as I read that page, I was like,
that was one of
Morrison.
his things. Yep. That's why Lobo's got space dolphins in the Super Pet books. So they take a Zeta beam and they run afoul of a bunch of bounty hunters. And also Adam Strange was just watching on a video screen, everybody. He wasn't standing in the room with them. He was watching via a video screen. So, Alana Strange goes...
Are you pointing out a possible error?
Possibly. So, Alana Strange goes off to help Mia Bean. Martian Manhunter stays back to play babysitter to Ultra the Multi-Alien. So, the rest of this is basically an Equinox origin issue. They go to Mia Bean's grandma's house, who looks younger than her best friend that looks like a grandma. And she explains her powers to her now that she's old enough. It's a generational thing. Her grandma was Equinox before her. They say their magic word, Kiwatin, and they are the protectors of their land via the 7 grandfathers of Kree life. Love, humility, bravery, truth, respect, wisdom, and honesty.
Courage, hope, willpower, fear.
They obviously went with Kiwatin because Lhrbthru was a bit of a mouthful. So, they protect their land from...
Mjorn!
Oh, Mjorn, I love you so much. They protect their land from dominion, control, aggression, deception, greed, selfishness, and fear. They are personified by the Witago, and that Witago that is following you is your father.
No!
But he died in a car crash! It's like, yes, Mia Bean, and your childhood puppy is living on a farm somewhere. So, go fight your dad. Your powers are seasonal. It's winter right now, so you've got snow and ice on your side. Good luck using your light drizzle powers come April.
Just let it go.
Yep. So Equinox and Alana go off to fight the Witago, and she's able to get him to revert back to his old self. And he dies, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's off with the grandfathers. And he's got like a male version of the Equinox costume, so he would have been an Equinox as well. Hey, awesome, good job. We're being superheroes. Hey, want to join the Justice League? Can you do that? I don't know. I think I'm a Justice Leaguer.
I do love how it's Alana and Mia Bean just like, are we Justice Leaguers now? I guess. I kind of want to be.
That would be
fun.
super cool. Yeah, maybe we'll get to meet Wonder Woman. That'd be very cool. So they go back off to their home base, where Ultra is talking already because he was just a baby a few issues ago and he's aging very rapidly. And he's talking about how time is broken and people are coming to hurt him. And it's Mon-El of the Legion of Superheroes saying he has to kill Ultra or the Legion of Superheroes will die.
I have traveled through time to save we, the Legion of Superheroes, who are much more important than you Justice League United folks. And I have to kill that little bugger you got right there.
Don't blame Ultra, Mon-El. The market has spoken. Just deal with it. So,
Maybe Ultra wasn't buying the Legion book, and that's why he's like, "You're the problem.
You're the first one, Ultra." I was just born. I was just born yesterday. I was literally born yesterday, dude. Come on, cut me some slack. So, aside from
you could have ordered 3 months before you were born.
Yes, but it's still. I love Justice League United. It's a lot of fun. Mia Bean talks a little bit like Handy Manny right now, but I'll let it slide for a few more issues.
Okay.
You can just put the little translation in a caption box. No one talks like that.
Yes.
Maybe it's because we live in Northeast Ohio, but all of my multilingual friends don't say a word from a different language and immediately explain what it is. You know?
I do all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't do that?
No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
Our
You're
son
not
does.
living.
Well, yes, because he's learning Spanish and a 6-year-old. Timothy Green II took over on art, and I could maybe complain. Some people could possibly complain that he draws the women a little spindly and alien-like, but he also draws everyone kind of spindly and alien-like.
Yeah, it's a stylistic choice.
It's a very European style. It works perfectly with outer space stuff, and I've got a soft spot for him because he's the person who reintroduced Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon and Groot back in Annihilation Conquest.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so he's good with space stuff. So this is the perfect book for him if he's going to continue on.
Yeah, definitely. Except for Mia Bin's friend.
Well, yes.
To patch that up a little bit.
I don't know what that was.
Had to patch that one up a little bit, I think. Because I kept thinking it was the grandma myself, and I was like, how did she get out there with them?
Yeah.
But thumbs up then, right?
Yeah, thumbs up still.
Sweet. But that wraps us up. That's all the books for this week. Woo! Go team. Rah, yay. As a reminder,
actually doing pretty good on time somehow.
Yeah, we are. We're still under budget right now. Yeah. Well, over our original budget, but under the realistic budget.
Season 2 is going to be all 1-hour shows, right, Sean?
Yep. So as a reminder, you guys go out there and buy these books. Not necessarily these particular books. It'd be awesome if you did, but make sure you support the hobby itself. If you don't buy the books, Kelly, what will happen?
They won't make them, and then Sean will have nothing to do.
And also, Brian, who wins in that situation?
No one.
That's right. See, you guys are paying attention now. I have to start offloading some of this stuff to you guys. You guys have to start picking it up. You're slacking on me. Season 2, it's a new era. You guys are going to handle all this stuff for me. Kelly, you have editing after this episode, right? Right? You got that?
I'm just going to push post.
Sweet, thanks. But make sure you support the hobby. It's a lot of good books out this week. Looks like a couple for next week as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is coming down the pike for next week. Brian, would you like to go to Apocalypse?
No, I wouldn't.
What if you had Batman wearing some Hellbat armor with you for the ride?
Okay.
Well,
Batman always wins. So
we're
I've got
gonna
that
do
going
that
for me.
We're going to save Damian.
Yeah.
It's a worth it right there.
Yeah.
So it's Batman and Robin number 35 next week. Batman Eternal, of course, continues its weekly tromp in Batman Eternal 28. Batman Superman with the weird storyline that's going on there.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna
I think we were an issue behind on that, weren't we?
Yep. We're doing 15. Batwoman number 35. Brian, who are the unknowns?
I don't know, but I'm excited.
We have
They're unknown.
We have some people on the cover here with their faces blocked out. I can maybe piece one or two together here. Should be amusing. Earth 2 World's End continues that weekly there. The life equation is beyond you, mortal. It is for gods alone to wield. As we go into Green Lantern New Guardians. Number 35. I'm assuming this is where Kyle's actually going to start getting into the mix, which he should since he's caused all this problem. Justice League number 35. It's Hug Lifetime, Brian.
Yeah, I know.
It's Hug Lifetime. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 35 as well. Supergirl teamed up with Red Hood? Wait, what? That's weird. Teen Titans number 3, New 52 Futures End number 24, and our new book for next week, Trinity of Sin. No colons, no apostrophes, no parentheses.
How
just
about
Trinity
brackets?
No brackets either. Just Trinity of Sin
No asterisks?
number 1. We're going down a new road. As I said, if we get the people from the end of Pandora and the people from the end of Phantom Stranger, could be a lot of fun.
Could be.
Could be chocolate and peanut butter again. Mushy mush, mush, mush. Could be fish oil and chocolate too, though.
Yeah.
That'd be nasty.
So yeah, quite a few books coming in. Though, next week might be a little awkward for us. You see, as Bill Cosby would say, I have this little dentist appointment next Thursday.
Funny you talk about Bill Cosby. You're going to be eating a lot of pudding pops.
Yes, I am, for at least a little while. I'm having all 4 of my wisdom teeth removed, as well as some other dentistry things done that will have me less than talkative, more than likely. We are going to try, and I stress this, try to record Wednesday night. And if we do, obviously that will be a limited episode because it will be the same day the comics get in our hands. So it will be a lot of read, record, next, read, record, next, read, record, go. If that doesn't work, I am so sorry if we try to do it anyway this weekend. Because I will likely be doped up. I will likely not have much
fun
jaw movement. It might be fun if you understood what I was saying, if it wasn't like Batgirl. So I am giving you guys forewarning. We're going to try to work around it as best we can, but understand if we are a little late or a little off or anything, that is the reason why. If I am unable,
no one listens to this part of the show because everyone always gets angry anyway.
I know.
You should have said this at the beginning of the show because people listen to the beginning of the show.
I'll post it on the Facebooks and the Twitters and those things. Matter of fact,
so 1/8 of our listeners will see.
Matter of fact, Kelly, if someone did want to contact us, if they wanted to find a place where I would be posting those things, what can they do?
Type DCR podcast into the internet.
That's all you need to do. It'll pop up with all your options. If you do want to email us, though, we are feedback@dcrpodcast.com. So it's the internet. Again, I say it every week. You guys know how to use it. We're DCR Podcast. I think that's it, though.
That should be it.
That should be it. And we're still, we got 4 minutes. What are we going to do for 4 minutes? So, how's it going?
It's
doing
going
good? Yeah, sweet. I think we should double size this since next week will be shorter. We should do another 2. You up for another 2, Cal?
Billy wakes up very early.
I know. So, if you guys don't have anything else then?
Nope.
I have to go to sleep too early now. Which makes this very late.
Call the ambulance.
Hey, I am not used to this bedtime.
I know.
I should not be sharing a bedtime with a 6-year-old.
No. Although I keep having to share mine with a 9-month-old, so and his hours are freaking ridiculous. So that's it for us, everyone. Enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and I'll try to talk to you next week. Bye.